The genesis of the History Center at Brookside really goes back to the sesquicentennial celebration in the village of Ballston Spa in 1957. That particular event brought together people from the different sections of the village, but also the outlying, all sort of were there at the formation, which I believe was in 1962, when a group met at the upstairs of the Eagle Matley Fire Company, which is now the police station, and it was a public meeting room, and people got together and they all decided, I say there were about 50 people there, at least 50 or 60 people that wanted to be create this organization, be charter members. The name was the Ballston Spa Area Historical Society. Early on, there was a desire to acquire items, and in order to do that, they needed a place to display them. The county had moved the motor vehicle department in the county clerk's office out of its old building almost 10 years before. And these buildings were vacant around the corner of Science and Street and West High Street. The county agreed to rent the old county clerk's building to the Ballston Spa Area Historical Society for $1 a year. It was opened in 1965. The opening was a strawberry social. And that became the fundraising event for each opening. It opened in May or early June, and was open only for the summer, and then closed because of the cost of heat. And I remember there was quite a bit of discussion at the time about Saratoga Springs having given up the name Saratoga County, and that name was now available, and that the good people of Ballston Spa wanted to take the name with the anticipation they were going to grow. The other thing is they had to find a new home. The county buildings were indeed going to be razed, and I remember the talk about picking up Brookside. Brookside was a derelict building. It was a large building. It was going to be taking a lot of resources, but they didn't have any money to buy the building. And that is where Harold and Arnhem came in, Harold and Ann. And Harold and Ann decided to use their own money to buy the building. And apparently, according to the deed, it cost $13,500. Which was a significant amount of money in those days. When I got onto the board in I think it was in late 77, early 78, there was a great desire on the directors at that time to change course. We were still a Ballston Spa group. The membership did not extend outside of Ballston Spa very much, except to the surrounding towns, perhaps. And it was decided then to hire someone who actually had training in in the science of running a museum. And that became Field Horn. And he was our first real professional director. The decision of the board was to make it a museum, not a historic house. Other interesting thing about the building is that it took over the name of the organization. The Brookside name is so strong. There have been many attempts to try to say, no, we are really Saratoga County Historical Society or what have you, and maybe we're Historical Society at Brookside or whatever. But everybody tends to continue to call the organization Brookside, which is really the name of the building. And it's a curious thing that a inanimate structure should actually take over the identity of a group of people.
The building is the first resort hotel built in Saratoga County and very possibly in America. So the building itself is our greatest artifact, and we realized that we must do everything possible to preserve it. In 1971, the then Saratoga County Historical Society had the opportunity to buy Brookside. They were able to open it as a museum. It was very much a grassroots project. It was a lot of volunteer labor, a lot of enthusiasm. I answered the ad and came up and was interviewed and was asked to take the job. What I faced was a building that, although a lot of work had been done on it in 7 years, it was still in very bad condition. We were able to get significant grant money, including money for exhibits, money for staff. We also developed some really kind of wonderful education programs that appeal to the school teachers, particularly the elementary schools. At that time, we took in class groups from most of the districts in the county.
This organization has a long history of educating the public and people of all ages about the rich heritage of this region. And there have been so many programs that have gone out into the schools, and also where we have welcomed audiences here into this historic building so they can learn about this history and also develop an appreciation for the importance of those who have lived before us. Now, when I came here in June of 2011, and I was very happy to continue that tradition and also build upon that foundation and develop even more programs to take out into schools. So one of our most popular programs that brings people back time and time again and in multiple generations is our Sheep to Shawl program that was developed over 40 years ago. And this is a program that brings in not only students, but also experts, the farmers, and their sheep. We borrow sheep from local farms, and this is the chance for many local students to have their very first interaction with livestock. Native New York is a very important program that we have offered for many years here in a variety of different forms, both here at the museum, but also out in schools. And it is an opportunity for the students to learn about the deep indigenous roots of this area and talk about the importance of the mineral springs and how that has brought people here for not only hundreds, but even thousands of years. One of my favorite programs to present has been Civil War letters. Now, that was one that was developed by my predecessor, Linda Gorham, but one that we have really had a lot of fun expanding even further. And this is drawing on a really amazing collection of letters that were written by a soldier from the village of Victory over near Schuylerville. And it's been incredible to share this with the 7th grade students that we work with.
I started with Brookside probably in 2010 when I retired. One of the first fundraising events I can remember from when I first started here at Brookside was our summer barbecue, which we did in the backyard. Our big fundraiser in the fall was called the Brooktoberfest. We used to do a 5K race. We called it the Jailhouse Rock, and it would start up the hill from Brookside on the top of Mohegan Hill and finish the race right in front of the museum. This building was initially built as an inn. I think this building likes having people in it. I think this building enjoys hearing happy voices, having things happen here. The Grange last year put on a series about gardening and preserving food. And this place was just filled with people that were happy. They were happy to be here. The building was serving a purpose. It was serving the people in the county. It was teaching them about our history. And the building feels happy now. And I think it's going to have many more happy years ahead of it.
I started volunteering here in early 2019, which was about 6-7 months before everything was going to close. But I'd been here long enough to determine that this was a place that was worth keeping and an institution that I wanted to stay involved with. So we were working a lot on trying to come up with new programs, new ways of bringing people in. But of course, then COVID hit and we had to close anyway. So with several other people, we started introducing the online series, Expert Next Door, which has been a wonderful thing, not only keeping us going through COVID, but also as a way of allowing people who are living at a distance from here and are not able to come in to join in our programs. The COVID times allowed us breathing space in a way to rethink what we could do and what we should do, and also in many ways to expand our horizons. The roundtable, certainly that then started bringing in the weekly, as it was then, essays, articles on all sorts of subjects. Those weekly articles then turned into 2 books that we've published, which has been another way of keeping the stories and reminding people of what we are lucky enough to have in this area. One of the delights I've had here actually has been being able to help with some of the youth programs, both here in the building and also sometimes out at schools. You see some of these children going out and playing with hoops, playing with skittles, playing with toys that their ancestors played with 200 and 300 years ago. And it is an absolute delight. And I would like to see us, and we are, moving into more of those things. I want this place to be a place where people come more than once. There should be things here that always are going to inspire people and open people's eyes.
I've been involved in Brookside since about the year 2000. Primarily, I've been volunteering in the library, and our research library started out on the first floor in the area that at that time was a gift shop. At just about the time COVID started, we were asked to move our collection upstairs. We have a fantastic space here today.
I came in 2011, and at about the same time that Ann Clothier came, was helping with research for exhibits. And a little bit later, I was able to join the research library.
We've got our library organized by township, so we've got for each of the towns in Saratoga County, we have whatever resources available. I hope that people will take advantage, learn more about our collections and how we can help them.
I was recruited in December of 2019 by John Cromie, along with a half a dozen other folks, to come on the Board of Trustees for the Saratoga County Historical Society. The organization was in severe financial trouble, and there was a lot of talk about closing it down. Turned out everything closed down. The schools closed down. The pandemic had set in and COVID was rampant. Among this group of young recruits were a lot of people much younger than I am, and they just refused to give up hope. Michael Landis proposed changing our name to the Saratoga County History Center instead of Historical Society, which sounded like a great idea. And gradually, our situation did improve, and we transferred to this idea of a organization run by volunteers. What a time, what an experience, what an opportunity to serve. I am so proud of what we collectively accomplished, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Brookside has been a part of my life ever since I can remember. I came here with sheep to shawl through school. I didn't realize my father ended up getting on the board shortly after that. He was on for about 2 terms, I think. When he stepped down, my mother took his place, and she was a part of it for 18 years. When Field called me 3 years ago to be on the board, I couldn't say no. This has been a part of my life. I wanted to save this building. I wanted to save this organization. I wanted to be a part of it. This is one of the best groups of people I've ever worked with. We are a working board. Every one of us is involved in this organization. Our mission here at the History Center is to preserve Saratoga County's history. We do that, namely through donations from local families. We're always looking for people to come with family histories and come with items, come with stories. We're developing an oral history library now, preserving those stories for future generations before those people are no longer with us. I feel privileged to be a part of an organization that preserves this history.
Hello, I'm John Hallgren. I became a board trustee in February 2019 to help with buildings and grounds. Early on, I started to work closely with Field and his vision on how to restore the museum and expand our exhibit space. One of the first projects I worked on was the handicap ramp, which was well underway. Our next project involved something much more extensive. It involved the room I'm sitting in right now, the room adjacent to it, and the room upstairs. We had to clean out all the unnecessary items upstairs, paint, patch, repair ceilings and walls. We added some LED lighting and improved the lighting significantly. However, the file cabinets presented a problem. These beams to my left here in the ceiling had to be added. Another major project, actually two major projects, were the front porch. The front porch had been deteriorating for quite a while. The porch was a significant project, took about 1.5 years to complete, along with the windows. We replaced all the decking, used treated lumber to repair some of the joist areas. One of the more complex issues was the fact that all the posts on the porch had rotted in various spots against the stone foundation. We repaired the wood areas in each post and put the porch back together. Today, the porch looks beautiful once again. On the storm window project, the storm windows were in various states of disarray. They were losing a lot of heat. Some of them wouldn't shut, some of them wouldn't open. Some of the glass was broken. So we decided to replace all storm windows. So both projects were completed, and due to the strong contributions from the community and much volunteer time. Hopefully over the next 2 years, we can have a fundraiser to raise enough funds to paint and repair the siding. As you can see, old buildings need constant repair and upkeep. If we don't do it, things will deteriorate and cost even more in the future to make these repairs. These can only happen with strong contributions from the community, towns. We appreciate all that, and the many strong volunteers who give us their time and energy to help us refurbish and maintain the museum. Thank you all very much.
The Saratoga History Center provides the residents of Saratoga County today with a detailed examination of how the county came to be the way it is now. What Saratoga County History Center is doing far better today is educational programming for adults. With Jim Richmond's originally roundtable and Zoom programs, live lectures, the videos that have been produced, we are reaching out to a much broader audience. And while we certainly want to introduce young people to Saratoga County's history, I couldn't be happier to have older adults engaged in what we're doing.
I've been researching and writing about local history since I retired in 2012. But my real involvement with the Brookside Museum came in about 2018 when myself and a group of others formed the Saratoga County History Roundtable. Our first things that we did as a roundtable was really to develop interactive programs that would reach out to people with diverse interests. With the intervention of COVID, we went to Zoom programs. We published articles on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And all this really was designed to get different people involved in the adult activities of the museum. Since then, we've increased that diversity by adding other elements that have attracted people. We now do tours, seasonal tours that we include as much of the county as we can in doing this. And the museum has been rewarded because of that, because we have increased our membership fourfold to almost 400 people now. And that is the lifeblood of any museum, is to be able to have a large, diverse number of people with different interests that help build the museum. One of the more interesting things that we've done in the last 2 or 3 years is developed a strong series of videos. Video media is really an important part of what museums need to do now to reach the online community. And we've established a series of Forgotten Crossroads videos. History Center has really developed all the elements that are important for a local museum to be successful. We now have an extensive collection of artifacts. We have quality exhibits in a historic building. We have a research library, youth education programs, which were strong since the beginning, were taken to another level by Ann Clothier. We have now also had fundraising events, which is really important to get the community involved. I think over the years, especially the last few years, the people that are involved in the museum has put the entire package together, and we're really proud of what the people in the museum have accomplished during that time. However, the continued success of the museum is not assured. And once again, the answer is always really the involvement and the energy of people. In our case, we developed a new and energetic board, had volunteers, and a strong staff that allowed us to reach more people. And when we did that, we increased the number of members that we have and a number of patrons that come to our events and participate in the activities of the museum. All that is critical for the continued success of the museum. And we're looking forward to another 50 years when we can continue to reach into the community of Saratoga County. And at this point, we'd just like to thank all those that have helped us in the past and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, Brookside Museum.
Congratulations on 50 years.
So thank you, Brookside.
Congratulations to Brookside.
Here's to another 50 years. Congratulations.